Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? It's your boys Mike and Wayne, and we are back for another No Harm, No Foul, and everybody's favorite show, guys. It is Face Off Friday. We are here. Wayne Breezy, my man is over there on a ferry. He's on a boat. What's going on, Wayne? What you doing over there, man?
Yeah, man, I'm on the ferry headed back to Massachusetts. Then I got to get in my car. Then I got a 3 hour drive home. And then if I'm up when I get home, I'm gonna do the Madden challenge tonight. 'Cause I ain't got no time to do that tonight or Sunday. It's gotta be one of the two things. This Sunday, I ain't got no time to do it anyway. So we just working hard, bro. It's good to be here, Mike. I hope you can hear me good. I apologize if the connection is shaky, but I'm on the water, so it is
No,
what
we
it is.
got you right now, man. We got you right now on your 3 hour tour. So, listen, I got a question about these Madden challenges, right? Like,
Okay.
is there a way for me to be on the Madden challenge with you later tonight? Like, how does that work?
Nah, cause I use a I use something called Streamlabs, so it doesn't allow me to invite anybody on there with me. So if
Mm,
I wish I could, like I tried to see if I could do it through StreamYard, but it won't. Like you could come in there and watch it, but I don't know. It's
right.
weird. It don't. The sound
Okay.
don't work or something. Something wasn't working properly.
It's all good, man. It's all good. These Niners are getting ready to face off against the Minnesota Vikings. And we had a couple of different positions that we looked at. I thought an honorable mention would have been Kirk Cousins, right? Kyle's quarterback crush versus Brock Purdy and how those two match up. Um, what kind of conversation do you think we would have had we stuck with that one?
I don't know. Like, is Brock like the new Kirk? Like, cause he's infatuated with Brock Purdy right now, and so like the same way he wanted Kirk Cousins, it might have been a pretty good conversation. But I'm tired of talking quarterbacks. And last time I checked, Brock got to go out there and he just need to shut up all the naysayers. Just play well this week. That like he do that, Brock will be right back on top of everybody's conversation. But I thought it'd
Right.
be interesting to talk about the tight ends, being that it will be tight end day on Sunday. So this is tight end weekend, right? And then George Kittle and TJ Hockenson, two premier tight ends in the league, both from Iowa, right? And which one seems to be the better tight end in current football right now? So I thought it'd be a cool conversation we had to have about those two guys.
Well, I think we should go ahead and jump right into it. Now, do we start by saying that TJ Hockenson kind of owes George Kittle a little bit of homage for putting the spotlight on those Iowa tight ends?
Yeah, because I don't think anybody was thinking of Iowa, period. And then George Kittle comes to the league and he kind of puts tight ends on the map from Iowa. And so that year, George Kittle came out. I think the next year, the year after that, you got TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant. They had the dual tight end threats. And now Sam Laporta's in the league. So it seems like Iowa's tight end university from the college standpoint. Like you go
Hmm.
there, but the crazy thing though, Mike, is they're all different.
Yes,
Like
they're
they're
very
all
different.
different. Yeah,
So
that's the best
I
part.
was I, I was having some fun. And I was looking up their draft profiles, right? And they have these things on there called they have your production score, which is like your combine rankings, like where you finish amongst like your peers. Then they have your athleticism score, which is based off of your combine measurements, I guess individually. And then they have your total score. All right. So I'm going to read production, athletic, and total score. And let me see if you could tell me which was which. Okay. So production score 97, athleticism score 77, total score 95 versus production score 66, athleticism score 89, total score 69. Prospect A and prospect B, which is which?
I think B is Kittle and A is Hawkinson, but I could be wrong.
You're just too cool for school, man. You know what you're talking about, man. I don't like, I don't like how you just I don't like how you just do that. Like you keep on doing that kind of stuff.
You tried to trip me up too. You think you slick, but it's cool. But the reason why I said that is because Kittle, fifth round draft pick, and then when Hockenson came out, he was clearly a higher prospect because Kittle put those tight ends he put the school on the map to look at tight ends. Now, I think Hockenson was a better prospect, and Noah Fant might have had a better combine than George Kittle, but George Kittle's athleticism was through the roof from the jump, and I think that's why the Niners took not a flyer, drafted the guy in the fifth round. It's fifth round, but I think his athleticism and his ability to block is the main reason why he fits and works so well for the Niners. Everything else was kind of like additive. George Kittle being able to catch, George Kittle being able to run after the catch, like things like that. But I think as far as prospect, I think TJ Hockenson is just a better prospect coming out of college.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because if you look at like the comparable measurables that they went through, the different exercises at the combine, George Kittle was better at every single one except one, and it was just the vertical jump, 40-yard bench press, the 10-second split. George Kittle was better at all of that, but the vertical jump where George Kittle finished with 35, Hockenson finished with 37.5. And here, check this out, right? Even their player comps at the time. George Kittle's player comp was Charles Clay. It's not bad. I remember Charles Clay from back in the day. But Hockenson's player comp, you try to guess.
I can't. I can't. I can't guess this guy. You gotta give me some choices or
I
something.
mean,
But
if George Kittle was frowned upon and got Charles Clay, I mean, what's the opposite? We heard about how he was rated so much higher. I mean, like, give me a big name.
for Hockenson, um, Tony Gonzalez.
Close. It was Travis Kelce.
Oh wow.
They compared him to Travis Kelce. I think that's insane. So I guess we really do have a bit of a battle here. Which one of these guys is actually better overall? And that's what I want to talk about. Who's going to have a better game? This is going to be really, really interesting. So where do you want to start with our face off, man? How do we want to do this?
However you started, baby. Look, it's funny you brought that up because I'm saying to myself, I think that again, from a productive standpoint, and I know you're talking about the combine, but I think out of college, I think Hockenson put up better numbers than Kittle. So I
Oh yeah,
think because
everybody did.
I'm going back on mute.
I'm sorry, but Kittle wasn't a production type guy in Iowa. He wasn't. He wasn't. In fact, the Niners were watching C.J. Beathard and then said, "Oh, who's that guy?" And that's how the Kittle infatuation got started. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm happy it happened the way that it did. But let's talk about these guys really quick. Career wise, one of these guys averages 10.3 yards of reception. The other guy averages 13.2 yards of reception. One guy has 20 career touchdowns. The other one has 34 career touchdowns. My question to you is,
Mhm.
which is which?
But go off. Can you can we compare? Because Kittle was in the league longer, so can we compare when Hockenson came in the league and then start from there and then add those numbers for Kittle just to see where it is?
I see
Does
what
that
you're
make sense?
saying. All right, so Hockenson. All right, let me go to his career log really quick. Okay, so he's been in the league since 2019. So that means that I would have to look at just this portion
That's,
of George Kittle. So we're taking
that's the
off 2
year
years,
of that's the year of Debo and Nick Bosa. Yeah,
and that also includes George Kittle's record-setting season. If we take off
that's
those
fine.
years.
Okay. Oh well. Hey.
All right. Okay. So
Well,
now I got
then it
you.
might not be fair because now we going Kittle third year and rookie year. So maybe you're right. Maybe we should compare. I don't know. I don't know how
Well,
you
let's.
want to do it, but the
Well,
tight ends are utilized differently.
they are, and that's what I was going to get at, right? So George Kittle, I will tell you, George Kittle is averaging 13.2 yards of reception. while Hockenson is at 10.3 yards a reception. Now, regardless of how they're used, what are they doing when they get the ball in their hands? I think that's pretty significant. Three yards more reception is pretty significant. Especially when one guy was Charles Clay, who was bigger, slower, more of a possession guy, and the other guy is Travis Kelce, right? Like those numbers should be switched. What is it about George Kittle that makes him so much, let's say, more elusive with the ball in his hands than a guy like Hockenson, who was supposed to be the more of a pass catcher and playmaker?
I think the elusiveness from Kittle comes just from his mindset. It's like I'm gonna catch the ball, you're not gonna tackle me. And his will to not want to get tackled or go down to the ground after first contact is what separates to me what separates Kittle from a lot of these other tight ends. And like the only comparable tight end really to George Kittle would be Travis Kelce, but Kelsey is just used so much more in a high volume pass catching. I feel like if Kittle was used more like a pass catching weapon, you know, he would definitely earn or have more respect of the NFL. But I think he has the NFL's respect, like period. Like they know that 2019 season, like that can be George Kittle. It's just that the Niners finally started putting pieces together to where it's not focused or centered around Kittle. And then if you look at the Vikings offense, they traded for Hockenson to be an extra piece. But when he was with the Lions, like he was the man. And I don't think there was anybody else on the Lions until they got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then they started changing it up a little bit, and then they made the season trade and sent him to Minnesota, which he's still not the man anymore. So I mean, I feel like now they're both starting to kind of like round off, but how do we want to compare these two tight ends? I mean, receiving is going to be Kittle, touchdowns is going to be Kittle. You can't really compare blocking because there's no really blocking stats. Blocking is going to be Kittle. So how is Kittle not the better tight end?
Right.
Just off the rip.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at success percentage, where you have George Kittle's success percentage at 58.2. You have Hawkinson's career success percentage at 50.5. I mean, but
It's
you know what's
close.
interesting, man? You know what's really interesting? If George Kittle didn't have that 11-year touchdown year, Hockenson is on his heels for total touchdowns.
He's a really good tight end, like top 5 tight end in the league, bro.
Wow.
He's a really good tight end, and it's funny that we're bringing him up because who's the quarterback's best friend?
It's the
And
tight
so
end, yeah.
and
Normally.
who doesn't the quarterback have anymore right now? Justin Jefferson. And so now the question is, for the 49ers defense, they're going to have to figure out a way to account for him. I know they got other weapons, but they're going to, like, Hockenson is a deadly weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Deadly. He's sneaky and he's really good in the red zone. So the 49ers are going to have to make sure that their attention is there because I'm telling you, this is a copycat league, Mike, and we're the only team that will not use like if our weapons go down, we won't use any of the other weapons. We're gonna try to like figure it out with other players, whereas they will use their weapons.
I think this year Hockenson has been the more consistent, dependable tight end for his quarterback. George Kittle only has 18 receptions on the year for 216 yards, but he's got those 3 touchdowns. That one game with the 3 touchdowns really is what sets him apart. But Hawkinson's got 36 receptions this year. That's 6 a game. That's 6 a game for 304 yards. But he's only got 2 touchdowns. So as far as fantasy points go, George Kittle is trailing Hockenson by less than 1 full point. Hockenson, because of the lack of touchdowns, is at 40.4 points, and George Kittle's at 39.6. So he's 0.8 points behind. I guess. All right, let's have a little bit of fun. I know you have a fantasy show also. Which tight end would you be more inclined to start? You only got one tight end to start. You got 2 on your team, and you just got to report that the guy that you got on Sunday is injured. So now you can either choose from George Kittle or Hockenson. Which one are you putting in? You just got done saying that Jefferson isn't there now, so the Niners got to do something.
Well, I'm never starting George Kittle because he's just not the focal point. So it could have been Charles Haley at tight end, and he would be going in at tight end over George Kittle. Like just like Kittle, like you said, Kittle. And it's not Kittle. I don't want people to think it's because Kittle is bad or Kittle. No, it's just the way that the 49ers use him, and unless there's a mismatch or whatever, he's just not a fantasy football player anymore. He's just a real damn good football player, like a real good football player. You know what I mean? So I would start Hockenson, but it sucks because I don't think the Niners give up touchdowns to him. So it's still going to be low scoring game for any one of them tight ends.
Okay. All right. Let me sprinkle a little bit of seasoning on this now. We don't know what's going to be
Make,
there,
su-
but
make sure it's Lowry's.
okay. All right. No, what about a little bit of accent? Is that now we're
No,
gonna stick with the
accent is
we're gonna
not.
stick.
That's the healthy shit, and it ain't good. No, Lowry's.
All right, Lowry's. All right, so check this out. Now we talked about Justin Jefferson not being there, so Hawkinson's targets will probably increase a little bit, right? What about if McCaffrey's not there?
So
Well, we
then
don't
it
know. He
change.
has not been
So,
ruled out.
no. See that changes it up a little bit because now Kittle may be more of a focal point. So now I'm gonna be enticed to probably start Kittle, and that's my thing. The Niners just have too many weapons for
Mhm.
fantasy football. It's good for us. It's good for football. But in fantasy, oof, that's tough. So if McCaffrey doesn't play, I'm more enticed to start George Kittle now. I like that Lowry's. I like the Lowry's.
Like the
Let's go.
Larrys. Okay, let's add a little bit more to the Larrys, right?
Now we gotta
I'm
get the
thinking.
Sazon. Sazon.
Now we're gonna get some color and flavor added to this bad boy right now. All right, now check this out, right? We know that McCaffrey is dealing with pain tolerance issues to be determined, but so is Debo. But
I
so
get.
is Debo. So wouldn't this say all signs point to Kittle and Ayuk, this being their game?
Well, I don't like their linebackers, but the question is, how are they going to utilize Kittle? And so I think Kittle down the hashes. I think Kittle and tight end screens. This could be a huge game for George Kittle. It's just the Niners got to use the sucker. Like that's
Hmm.
it. And here's why. I think Collie in the chat asked, did Kittle lose a step? I mean, he's a little older, so he probably lost a step. But it doesn't seem like it when he gets the ball, right? It doesn't seem like he loses a step. It seems like he's trying to outrun cats. He's still outrunning cats and all that type of stuff. I don't think he's lost a step. And I think the fact that they're underutilizing him is the reason why. The majority of Kittle does is blocking. So where do you see him losing a step other than his age and him being a little bit older? I don't think he's losing a step, Mike. I think they need to just get Kittle the ball. Man, I was screaming for getting Kittle the ball last week. They wouldn't have even seen it coming.
Right.
Kittle might have been double covered in that game, but at the end of the day, a Titan screen would have backed them suckers up. They would have backed them up.
Yeah. I'm looking at it, and you're absolutely right. I don't know that I've ever seen Kittle's targets be this low. Forget receptions for a second, right? Um, Kittle has 2 targets, 4 targets, 1 target. Here comes the Giants game, 9 targets, and then 3 targets. And last week, and then the first week was 6 targets. Um, but there's nothing behind them. You know what I mean? That one week where he had the 3 receptions, 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys, everybody thought that was pretty cool, right? But when you step back and look at it, 1 target, 1 reception, 9 yards. 1 reception for 1 yard against Cleveland. He had seven. Okay, the Giants game, he had a good game. 7 receptions, 90 yards. But then before, like, just keep going. The Rams game, 3 targets, 30. I mean, 3 receptions, 30 yards, 3 receptions, 19 yards. He's been nothing more than a chain mover right now. And if we look at Hockenson, he's getting the targets, just the targets. 8, 8. Okay, there's a 3 game, 11, 8, and 9. They're throwing the ball to Hockenson. All right. Now Wayne is leaving and coming back, leaving and coming back. But my point remains, they are moving they're getting Hockenson targets. His low game is 3, which will be tied for George Kittle's fourth highest, like out of 6. So
That's
they're
because
getting
he's
him
a
the ball.
it's because he's a he's an intricate part in the pass catching game. They need him to get the ball. He helps
Hmm.
move the chains. He helps make the defenses play a little bit differently. So I don't know if Kyle Shanahan is trying to like play the NFL, trying to take Kittle away as an option just to catch defenses slipping. But the Vikings clearly make you know that you're gonna have to prepare for TJ Hockenson. Kyle Shanahan know daggone well he can take advantage. Look what the Giants, when he targeted Kittle and they got him the ball, he damaged them, like
Yeah,
literally.
7 for
And
90. Yeah, yeah.
so I'm wondering if that's part of Kyle's plan. Like they know what you could do already, Kittle. Like just go ahead and block like right now.
Is he trying to lure the NFL to sleep with George Kittle?
I
Like, don't
I
worry
feel
about him.
I feel like that's what I was. Man, I'll be coming up with crazy dumb stuff with Kyle Shanahan because I can't figure it nothing out. But why else wouldn't you use George Kittle? And we've been talking about this ever since George Kittle got paid. He hasn't been utilized properly. He's when his number is called, he produces. Think about it. I think
I,
the Niners just like it that they got skills in they stash.
hmm. Okay. Chaz, no, Breezy did not do the Madden simulation. He's going to do that this evening, he said. So make sure you guys got your alerts set on the Wayne Breezy channel. He will be doing the Madden simulation a little bit later. Um, all right, let me ask you this question, Wayne. I'm gonna go getting back to the comparison here because I like Hockenson. Hockenson is clearly going to have more targets and receptions than Kittle this year, unless there's a switch that's flipped somewhere in the 49ers history, and I don't see that coming in the 49ers future. But what I wanted to ask you about was this.
Oh,
If you look,
I know what I meant to say, but go ahead.
oh wait, go ahead, you go ahead. You can say it because I'm not going to forget what I was going to say. So go ahead.
Okay, so also when you think about the 49ers, what do they like to do and what do they do successfully, most successfully in the NFL? They run the ball, right? The Vikings have
Mhm.
zero running game. They have to use TJ Hockenson. So the
Mhm.
Niners are going to try to enforce their will by using Kittle in the run game, et cetera, and stuff like that. So that's another reason why we don't see Kittle utilized much in the passing game. But I think that's part of Kyle's plan.
Okay. Okay, I like that. I like that. Now, what I was going to say was this. Uh Last year was Hawkinson's best career year as far as total yards. With he finished the season with 914 yards, most of which came after the trade to Minnesota. He played all 17 games, so he did get his bye week and everything in there. All right, so he finished with 914 yards. Neither one of these guys have had 1,000-yard season since Kittle got paid. Okay, Kittle got his big ass contract, and the most he's had since then was 910 yards. If you had to guess which one of these two would have 1,000-yard season first, which one would it be?
Hockenson,
No hesitation.
no hesitation.
So, are you telling me that the Vikings have the better tight end?
No. It's almost impossible to say that they got the better tight end. They just have a tight end that they use more a volume with. Like they're going to get him the ball. They have no choice. They're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
on the ball. When Hockenson came to Minnesota, all right, like he had Jefferson taking off the top of the defense. He could play underneath. He can catch, be the savior. He was like it was just crazy, and they still had Dalvin Cook, so that
Mm-hmm.
kept defenses honest. Like, and now you look at Hockenson. You say Hockenson, okay, Hockenson is still that dude. This is not me saying he's a top 5 tight end. But so is George Kittle.
Absolutely.
He may be 5. Kittle may be 4. There may be some other tight ends that are surpassing. And so like at this point, I feel like what Kittle's done in this league, his production is keeping him like relevant. Like you know what I'm saying? Because he's still a threat. You go ahead and I think that's what Kyle is doing. You go ahead and forget about George Kittle, please. I guarantee you, if I see a linebacker or a safety one-on-one on him trying to cover him, he getting the ball.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What I thought made George Kittle special and made him a #1 overall tight end in the NFL. This is back when I would debate those Kansas City Chiefs fans. Was that your guy catches, but our guy catches and blocks. Well, now the catching's kind of slowed up.
But it's slowed up by design. It's not slowed up because he slowed up. You get what I'm saying?
I
It's by
do.
design. So
I
like,
do.
should we? If you could debate the Travis Kelce, which is not this show, but if you put Travis Kelce in there, who else Patrick Mahomes is gonna go to? That's his guy. That's the guy he's gonna go to. Now you got to factor in Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy trying to build the rapport with Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey, himself, any other motherfucker named Jane that come into that offense. He's got to build the rapport. He's got to spread that love out. And in Minnesota, it's not really much more spreading now that Jefferson is gone. So it's a rookie in Jordan Addison. It's a guy named Osborne. They not #1 wide receivers. It's going his #1 target, his #1 option is going to be the guy we talking about on this show, TJ Hockenson, because he's still a threat. He's a threat.
So that's who you guys should start on Monday night. If you have to pick a tight end, you guys start TJ Hockenson over George Kittle, and you do it with pride. You hear that, faithful? TJ Hockenson is winning this Faceoff Friday so far because George Kittle can block. Yeah.
That was good. That was good. That ain't what I said, but that was good. That was good.
Oh my God. Hey man, I don't know if the Niners have a top 5 tight end anymore, guys. I just don't know. Through six games, I'm gonna say no. Through 6 games,
he's not putting up top 5 tight end numbers, but it's by design. I'm not trying to give him a pass.
Right.
But if George Kittle was the focal point, like he was in that Giants game, because the blitz was heavy in that game, and he was utilized different, man, George Kittle could probably get you 3 touchdowns a game.
You know what? I'm gonna just shut up and stop talking. I'm gonna shut up and stop talking because I just
don't worry about the
Googled.
chat. Oh,
No, not that. I just Googled. The chat don't bother me. I just looked up tight end receiving yards this year, and I wanted to. I was. I'm gonna feel bad saying I was hoping to see, but I was expecting to see George Kittle outside the top 10. Bro, he's number 6, right behind TJ Hockenson.
Did I not just say that? But he in my top 5. And it's because I know exactly who George Kittle is, and I think the league does too. And I wish the defense would prepare. I wish the defense would not prepare for George Kittle. I wish.
Right. Yeah. He's tied for the most touchdowns amongst tight ends at 3. Right. He's 6th in yards, and he still got the blocking. He's got to be still top 5, man. I tried to make fun of him. But he still be in there, so he still gets the block on, man.
Who wins this face-off? 60 seconds.
I think the Niners have the better overall tight end, but I think the more productive on the stat sheet tight end.
You can't be having stipulations, man. Just pick one.
So what you want me to pick right now?
I don't know. I want you to pick one. I ain't telling you who to pick. You pick one.
But what's the question? Who's the better tight end?
Who is the tight end that's winning this face-off? Face to face.
TJ Hockenson.
Man, I'm out, man. I almost ended this broadcast, bro. I can't find the out button.
Come on, no. Tell us who your pick is.
It's George Kittle, bro. How can you say TJ? George Kittle is I don't care what nobody say. George Kittle, the best tight end in football, bro.
George Kittle about to have 1 reception for 8 yards, and Wayne gonna be like, "I told you he was the man."
But I bet you it'll be a tight end, and I bet you TJ Hockenson won't get in the end zone. I bet you that 8-yard touchdown, George Kittle. I'll take that over 100 yards. Any day.
I love it, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. This was a lot of fun, man. Wayne, I hope you get there safely, man. Drive safe, too. Don't rush out there in that traffic when you get out there. Faithful, thank you all for supporting. Jax, thank you so much. She gifted a Wayne Breezy membership today, so thank you very much, Jax. We appreciate that. Guys, no team is safe when the Niners are on the prowl. I'm Mike. That's Wayne. And this is No Harm, No Foul. We'll see y'all soon. Peace.